Welcome to Sightline Live, the podcast where we explore how live experiences can fuel year-round marketing. I'm your host, Marie-Elaine Lemire. In this episode of Sightline Live, we're joined by Erin Oles, Executive Vice President of Global Integrated Marketing at Salesforce, to explore how one of the world's leading technology companies design experiences that extend far beyond the event itself. We'll discuss why events should be viewed as part of a larger customer ecosystem, how AI is reshaping experience design, and how customer stories, integrated marketing, and human connection come together to create measurable business impact. Erin, so glad to have you today on Sightline Live. Welcome. Before we dive in, I would love if you can talk to us and explain a little bit what is your role as the EVP of Global Integrated Marketing at Salesforce, and how does your focus shift as Dreamforce approaches? Because it's going to take place in a few weeks, right?
That's right. We're getting really close. I think we're under the 50-day count, maybe even 45. But at a certain point, I don't want to know how many days are left. We just keep going. So my organization and role includes global field marketing, strategic events, and executive marketing all under one roof. And I would say, at the end of the day, everyone here at Salesforce and the marketing department specifically is all eyes towards Dreamforce. So we plan it all year round, but now is when we really dial up and are going through kind of all of the experiences to make sure that we're putting in a best-in-class experience for our customers, our trailblazers, our partners, and our employees.
And we're going to get into more details about Dreamforce and your strategy, but I'd love if you can tell us a little bit about your journey, because you started your career in sales before moving into marketing and event leadership. So how has that experience shaped the way you think about connecting with customers? And do you feel that it has an impact on your work today?
Yeah, I think there's two core ways. And in marketing in a broader way, we have to think about the impact we're driving to the business. And at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, right? And so we're not just doing random acts of marketing, random acts of events, but an event should have a purpose. I think being grounded in sales where you have such an outcome-based goal really drives that. And then one of the things that I love, I actually was in sales at Salesforce, is that they have you sit with the front lines, right? And you get to hear the phone calls and you get to hear when a marketing narrative perhaps doesn't land well, or it starts a tough conversation that someone doesn't know how to reply to because it's just not how humans talk. So if you ask our team, you hear a lot of people hear from me, what does this mean to a real human? And that really grounds what kind of experiences we bring to life. We can put the best words on there, but if it doesn't make me feel compelled as a human to step forward and engage with you, whether that's at a demo or something like that, then is it really doing its job in marketing?
And I believe having that experience and seeing how the product is sold and the benefit that it provides to your customer really help you shaping the experience when we see you at large events like NRF or any industry-specific events.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, we are customer obsessed, right? So whatever we do, if it does not solve a problem or a challenge for our customers, then why are we doing it? And so I think that opportunity to hear directly what it's like when customers have a pain point and then figure out how to apply that through marketing in a proactive way. Maybe they don't even know they have a pain point yet, or maybe they don't know that, we can provide a better solution for what they've been struggling with, or that other customers have struggled with the same before and can come through that. I think that really shapes the kind of experiences in marketing that we put together.
What are the skills that you're looking for when you hire people on your teams, whether it's on the events, field marketing, executive marketing, or integrated campaigns?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I like to look for hungry people, right? That want to do cool things and push really hard and that are driven to improve. I also think it's critically important that you have people that have a very strong kind of fortitude, right? Events are not for the faint of heart and they will challenge us. And people that love it, love the challenge, and they love to race through that all the time. We get asked to do really exciting things down to the wire of how would we completely change a message. And you can just see in the eyes of the team that they're excited by that they're like, oh, this is going to be hard. I've never done it before. Let me take a swing.
And all those teams work together. Why is it so important for those functions to work as one connected customer experience?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot at Salesforce, but The reality is, our customer doesn't experience an org chart. It doesn't make sense to have different handoffs and have our customers have to go through the work of understanding what we're trying to tell them because certain parts of the organization are shipping certain components. So we look at really empowering the customer experience from the very beginning all the way through nurture and customer experiences in person. So for us, it's really about just creating smooth customer experiences that help them understand and move through, conversations with us from interest to buying in a way that doesn't make them feel like they have the burden of understanding how we're organized.
Now, I really want us to dig a little more into Dreamforce. So, Dreamforce is one of the most renowned events in the B2B space. Can you describe it a little bit for the marketers out there that haven't had the chance to experience it?
Yeah, Dreamforce is 50,000 people in person in downtown San Francisco. We close the streets, we create an incredible national park, and we have a gigantic celebration of our customer success. So it's really our opportunity to bring together our trailblazers, our customers, our partners, our employees, and celebrate the incredible things that they've been doing with the innovation and the tools that we provide, as well as learn from one another and get our hands on and solve business challenges together and grow. It is, unlike anything you've ever experienced. We have millions more that watch online. And it's 3 days where we completely take over San Francisco and have an incredible relationship with the city of San Francisco in just making a great experience for our attendees. So it's larger than life. It's hard to explain. You have to experience it.
You've been working on that event for how long now?
I think this is my 10th Dreamforce. I've been leading this organization for this event directly for about 5 years.
That's amazing. And what do you think makes Dreamforce so special? And what does it take for an event to really become a true business platform and become more than just a gathering?
Yeah, I mean, the way that Salesforce uses events is probably really different than how a lot of other organizations use events. And when I first started and we would have our customers ask us, how do you think about events? What tools are you using? I had nervousness, like, are we giving away any type of secret sauce? And the reality is, we're not. One, because our CEO wrote a book about it called Behind the Cloud, where he literally explains chapter by chapter on the importance of using events and how they should be leveraged. So for us, it's a full company effort, right? We absolutely look at the event as an opportunity for us to not only celebrate our customers, but also to give them solutions that power their future, right? And as part of our values, trust is one of our number one values. And for us, being able to be trusted advisors and guides for them is critical. So coming together in person gives us an opportunity to do that, to connect with them, to understand and hear their problems, to connect them with customers and experts and partners who can solve and support their implementations. And it really is a full go-to-market strategy that the entire organization gets behind.
So Dreamforce is Salesforce own event, but you're also investing in other external events, other conferences in the retail space, for example. How do you decide which moments are important enough to bring people together when, in today's world, customers can connect with brands from anywhere and digitally?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you can't replace human connection at the end of the day, right? What we look at our digital footprints as and the broadcast that we produce from our events as an extension of what you're experiencing. But you can't replace the one-to-one connection and the conversations and the hands-on learning and trainings. We can replicate it and we can replicate it at scale. And I think that those two things are complementary of each other. But for us, it's all about reaching new audiences and creating a meaningful impact. So when we go to conferences that are outside of our own four walls that we don't own, we're really sharing our message, our solutions for that industry, and getting specific with how we can help those attendees. And then we look at broadcast as a way to scale our message so that everybody can be a part of it and you're not geographically bound or left out of a conversation when you need to know about the latest innovation.
Of course, Dreamforce is one of the key events, is the flagship event, but you're also hosting other events. But executive leaders have really a lot of conferences competing for their time. So what makes your event at Salesforce worthy of a spot on their calendar year after year? What do you think makes them free their time to come to your events?
Yeah, I think especially right now in this moment, executives are under so much pressure to define what the future looks like for business and for enterprise. And so, what we're hearing right now is that they need a guide and they need a trusted advisor. And so, our job is to take that need that our executives have and to create an experience that works for them and makes sense for them. We're talking the right level of content, the right level of conversation, the right kind of invitations. They don't necessarily need to go to every session. They need to go to sessions that are specifically designed for them. And I think in this situation, it's pure examples and use cases. It's being able to be inspired by the art of what's possible. But we design bespoke experiences for the executive audience because we know that their time is limited and it's precious, but we also are seeing that our executives are really needing guidance right now on how they chart the path forward.
And it seems like being realistic about their bandwidth and time is also a key to make it successful. Um,
Absolutely. For every audience.
yeah, absolutely. I cannot agree more. So you deliver experiences all over the world, but how do you create brand experience that is recognizable, but also giving each region the freedom to feel it feels local or just fitting into the culture?
Yeah, I mean, we have a non-negotiable brand core. It has to feel unmistakably Salesforce. Sometimes that shows up a little different. Sometimes it's a little whimsy or a little playful, but at its core, every program feels like us. But then we lean on the local teams to provide that local relevance. How is a customer in Tokyo, Sydney, or Sao Paulo going to connect with a brand to honor their context, right? And so we give space to creative in order to be able to make those type of changes in the local teams in order to lean into it. And I think it goes back to what I was saying about at the end of the day, the people who are coming are humans, right? And we have to not ship marketing for the sake of it being marketing, but that we are speaking to people with real problems and real challenges. And the more we can customize while still maintaining our core identity, the more it'll feel like we see them and we hear them and we're there for them as their advisor.
You mentioned that Salesforce is really customer obsessed, and customer stories are at the heart of so many Salesforce experiences. Why are customers' voice often more powerful than brand messaging when it comes to building trust?
I mean, it's like any third party validation, right? We can say it, anyone can say it, but when you put two peers together and you get that peer validation, they tell a really genuine story, and we don't feel that we need to be in the middle of it, right? They need to be able to share what was their experience and what they learned, and we listen, right? How can we do better as well? So for us, customers are kind of the original influencers, maybe before influencers were, coined a term here, but Mark Benioff always understood that earned coverage, quote unquote, is kind of the most critical thing that we can do. So when customers are happy and they use our solutions, they're going to want to shout from the rooftop on what that looks like. And our job is to create opportunities for customers to be connected, to be in the same room and to have natural conversations. I think community is also a big part of that, right? So we have a huge Salesforce ecosystem, and these are an extension of our customer success. And they're also partners with us, right? They also give us feedback on how we can do better and improve our roadmaps and what's missing. And so those practitioners, they live and breathe our technology. And I think both of those audiences coming together in person, physically and digitally, is critical.
So, Salesforce is such a big organization, and you're talking about the feedback that you receive from customers and that you work with that feedback to create better experiences, whether it's on the product or on events. Being in such a huge organization, how do you make sure that the feedback goes somewhere? Because I feel like it's often an issue that we see with large companies. We receive feedback, but what do we do with it? How is it
Yeah.
processed?
Feedback is core to Salesforce's DNA. We are a feedback seeking culture. I think you have to be at a company that looks at mistakes and opportunities for growth as opportunities for growth, not as marks against you, right? So the fear of failure has to be to some way like you have to push hard enough to where you're not so afraid of failing that you can't even get feedback, right? I think, there's incredible advice that I've gotten of when you're having really important meetings with really high stakeholders and you go into the room and you're ready to pitch a perfect idea. It's like, is that really what you should be walking in that room to? Or is the best use of time for this person who might be in meetings that you're not in every day and know more about different parts of the business that you don't get exposure to ask them for feedback? So I would say we are a truth seeking, feedback seeking culture. And the way that I would recommend for any leader to really incentivize that type of behavior is to start to talk about it. What are your survey scores? What are the What's the data coming out of your scores? We upload all of that into our Slack tool and Slack bot, and then we're able to ask it, what did customers say about our experiences? I think when events start to lose sight of success and you start to see dwindling numbers, it's when they have taken their eye off of what the customers are telling them and what the attendees are telling them. And so for us, it is a truth-seeking culture here where we're really driving feedback every day to get it to benchmark scores, to look if we're improving, and to continually just be open to feedback.
And customer centricity has become one of the marketing's most trendy or overused phrases. What does it look like in the decision the team makes every day?
Yeah, I mean, in the simplest way, I said it a little bit earlier too, but you'll hear me say very often, like, what does this mean to a human? And I think that the majority of the marketing organization at Salesforce is the same. We're looking at human pain points, and business leaders are humans too, right? So at the end of the day, if you're working till 9 p.m. because you have a broken solution that's not operating for you, like that is still a human problem, and we need to give you solutions that work. At the same time, how do we make humans more productive, and how do we leverage AI in order to make a human's life a little bit easier, right? So that speed, they can take care of the mundane, simple tasks and really start to see value out of that. So for us in the experiential world, you could look at session recommendations and activation, and really start thinking about who is this compelling? What does it make me feel? And what does it make me want to do?
And you just talked about the AI. One of the questions that I had for you, and you just mentioned, for example, the usage of AI feature like session recommendations or peer recommendation for matchmaking. But how does AI shape the way your team design events? Do you use AI in your creative process or while you design your experiences?
We use AI in absolutely every part of what marketing does here at Salesforce. We use our own AIs, and we use AI that have been integrated into our systems and tools. And we would be foolish not to. We're learning so much, and we're able to spend so much more time on creativity. We're also innovating on our own AI to deliver it to our customers. So we launched a tool called Ask Agentforce that is essentially an event concierge, but really it's an event agent, right? And that agent can create a completely bespoke and custom agenda for you. So once you log in and you register for the event, it knows based on our CRM intelligence exactly, what role you're in, what company you work at, and can start recommending things to you. And you can have a natural language conversation. So that's a simple way that we're delivering it to our customers. And we've had customers use that as well. An event here local to the Bay Area, Bottle Rock, launched Melody using it in 30 days. The World Economic Forum used it, having thousands of conversations and scheduling one-on-ones, taking action on behalf of attendees. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening in the event and experience world with AI. And then I would say for Salesforce marketing internally, we use our data cloud in order to identify audiences that should be invited. And we're finding really, really rich reasons to reach out with compelling content in order to drive better conversion for attending our events and making sure that we're having the right people there that are then having the right conversations, whether that's with sales or experts, to drive adoption as well as, pipeline forward.
Beyond attendance, pipeline, and lead generation, what business outcomes matter most to Salesforce when you're evaluating the success of an experience? If it's your own experience, so Dreamforce or Agentforce or any other events that you're putting together, and when you go to a partner event.
The book I referenced earlier, Behind the Cloud, there is an actual chapter that is called The Event is the Message. And this is truly what we build on, right? So you can think about that like words on a banner, but that's not really what it means. What it means is like what you went and what you experienced and what you leave with and how you felt, that like that overall full package of an experience. That's the message that we're giving you as our customer or as a prospect if we're at an event, a third-party event. But at the end of the day, it is a full moment for us. So we think about not only the pipeline, the lead generation, making sure the right audience is in there. And of course, we use these as incredible closing vehicles to propel our sales teams forward. But it's also about the story that we're telling and how that comes across broadly for all of our attendees and across media. So did the message land? Did it make people feel something? Do they want to do something as a result of that message?
Storytelling, it's key. So for the brand marketers listening to our podcast right now, what's one shift in customer expectations that marketers need to pay much closer attention to over the next 5 years in your perspective?
Yeah, I think, Mental capacity is always shifting, right? How much attention span we have for things. An interesting one is you used to, when you wanted to plan a vacation, you would Google and you'd click on different sites and you'd find the hotels that you'd like and you'd look at different references, you'd text your friends, you'd get an email, and you would spend the time compiling all that information. Today, in a consumer mindset, you will go to an AI LLM and you will just say, plan my trip. And here are some parameters. I don't want to drive more than 30 minutes each day. I don't want this. I don't want that. I think we're reshaping consumer expectation, and that is going to carry over into the event landscape as well. So as an example that I just shared, that AI event concierge, that's an answer to that, right? And that's a shift that's going to be happening. But then even if you land on our Dreamforce website today, what you'll actually get the opportunity to play with is Piper. Piper's live on the site and has had 10,000 interactions and engagements with customers talking about different things about why they should come to Dreamforce or not, helping them build a business case for their bosses based on intelligence. And Piper has a direct funnel in line to drive them towards registration. And we're seeing a 31% conversion from that. So AI is changing everything we do. And I think my advice would be to start diving in. There's out of the box tools you can use like Piper. There's also really simple ways you can think about innovating for your customers, but I think they're going to want personalized recommendations. I think we're going to have to do the heavy lifting for them. And I think that also clearing out the clutter and noise. Does every single person need to be marketed to with every single asset that we have? Or can we really, truly, deeply know with all the data that we have who you are and what matters to you and try to get a little bit more concise and a little bit more direct?
Love that. And this applies to B2C or B2B events. Humans are humans. Couldn't agree more.
100%.
With everything you just said. These are such great insights. Before we wrap up our podcast, I really want to do a quick lightning round with you. Those questions are meant to be very quick, just, very spontaneous answer, no overthinking. So I have 5 questions for you. First one, coffee chat, keynote stage, or hallway conversations. Which one creates the best connections?
I think hallway chats with your customers.
Love that. What's one thing every great event has to have?
Fun.
What's a marketing trend you're excited about and one you're ready to retire?
Okay, for exciting, I think this is the personalized event agents working on your behalf, someone that puts together your entire agenda and you do nothing but register and express your intent. Like, sign me up for that. And then probably to retire, just antiquated tracks by title or that don't make sense and don't connect to me and feel like a waste of my time.
And if you could invite anyone in the world to Dreamforce, who would it be?
It would be everyone. If you're hearing this, you are invited to Dreamforce. I would love for you to come.
We'll send an email with the registration. One word you hope people use when they leave a Salesforce experience?
Memorable. I think when people remember things, it stays with you. And that's that brand connection that we always strive for.
And everything that's memorable is inspiring. Love that. My last question for you is, if you could change one thing about the way executives think about experiential marketing, what would it be?
Yeah, sometimes I speak to executives and I hear them say, oh my gosh, events is so much work. And it sort of baffles my mind. And I immediately kind of come to this place of like, well, then it's not working hard enough for you. Like, events are so impactful. Everything that we do drives so much impact to the business. And more than likely, you find people with that frame of reference, they don't have a tops down culture that believes this is a really strong go-to-market way to move forward, brand discovery, pipeline, pipe maturation, ACV, closing events. And I just think that I wish that executives would step back and say, if I feel that way, then maybe we're not quite doing it right. But maybe also they could pick up a Behind the Cloud book and do a little read through. Because honestly, I've read it a couple times. That's the playbook on how we do events. And it truly is core to Salesforce's go-to-market.
And we're not saying that it's not a lot of work to put an event. It's just that the impact and the value are so much worth it and so much bigger.
100%. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Erin Oles. This was so great. Thank you so much for your insights and being so generous in this interview.
It was great chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.